All right, here we are for the next hour inside of the War Room.
Dun, dun, dun.
On today's panel, Stacy Pearson, co-founder Lumen Strategies, a Democratic strategist. Great to see you, Stacy.
Thanks for having me.
We got Matt Salmon, former U.S. representative. Matt, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
And we got the hottest free agent, Valley TV star, formerly from Fox 10, awaiting his big announcement, Troy Hayden.
Hey,
what an honor to
Troy
be here.
Hayden. Look
Thanks
at
for having
that.
me in, guys.
All right.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, great to see you too.
So,
Where do you guys want to start?
Let's hold off on
There
the
is so much.
Isn't there, though?
Biden has COVID. We're going to get into that in a second. Maybe he can gracefully bow out using this. Let's start with Donald Trump over the weekend. I just have a question that, I don't think anyone's really answered. What would America be like today if he was assassinated?
Oh,
if
my.
that happened, maybe you can take me down that
scares
nasty
me.
road. Yeah.
It frightens me.
What do you think it would be like today
Chaos.
if that went?
Don't you think it'd be chaos?
chaos?
There'd be violence.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
there would be all kinds of violence, and it frightens the heck out of me.
But who would the violence be targeted towards? I only ask this because we're, 5 days removed now? And I feel like we still don't know much about the shooter.
Well,
his supporters would have lost their mind, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
The MAGA faction of the party.
I think it would have been chaos, and I mean, we're blessed in a lot of ways that it didn't happen.
Yeah, because it was centimeters.
Centimeters.
I mean, if he didn't move his head, he would have gotten shot in the head. So you guys think that people would have taken it to the streets and burned things down, and this would be Trump supporters so angry, maybe even saying, "Well, Joe Biden killed him," or it was the CIA.
Right. It's been a tinderbox anyway, and for something that cataclysmic to happen, I think it would have pushed things over the top.
Caught on TV,
Yeah,
right?
caught on
in
TV.
front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Well, and Democratic headquarters would be shut down. I mean, we would have folks riot when their basketball team wins a championship. I mean,
Good
this
point.
would have been
Yeah.
a different level entirely. I mean, people like me would have, I would have my husband, the cop, on guard.
Yeah.
And then there's people in this country that just look for any reason they can to loot and
Cause trouble.
Cause trouble.
Professional troublemakers.
So yeah, that's my fear. is that-
Conspiracy theories, think about that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
all
They're
these
still
things,
out there right
they
now.
are.
Are you
Conspiracy
kidding me?
theories
There's
are out
lots
there
of
right now.
well, and I think part of the problem is there's so many conspiracy theories because there's so little information,
Right.
Which is weird.
which is really weird. I think probably
You sat in these committees before and called people in.
I think probably our FBI and our law enforcement guys, they probably have more information than
Of
we
course,
know
yeah.
and then they've let out.
But what can they tell us? The Secret Service. I can't imagine letting somebody get
within
150
130
yards.
yards? Yeah, it's
With a clear sight line.
Unbelievable.
Right. Now, and from what I understand, they were warned by people that were attending the conference.
Yeah, why don't we go through the timeline? Because there's a new timeline now. Because when the shooting happened, the Senate actually was the Senate.
There was a briefing this morning
Was briefed today
by the head of the Secret Service and the FBI.
So just think about this. The shooter visited the rally site days before. He wanted to scope it out.
He
He
cased the
visited
joint.
it like twice.
Twice.
Right.
They said he spent over an hour.
Right. They could tell that from
casing
the
it.
phone, right?
Yeah.
From his cell phone.
Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m., the assassin was under suspicion when his rangefinder set off the metal detector.
Tried to bring it through the magnetometer.
Right.
A rangefinder.
But both of those things, as bad as they are, I know where you're going with this, Gaydos. The next one you're going to tell me is the one that blows me away. Keep going.
5:45, one of the Secret Service snipers spots the assassin on the roof.
Right.
Spots a guy lying on a roof.
Right.
Yeah.
This is, by the way,
And that's 15 minutes before Trump.
20 minutes before Trump
20
even goes
20
on
minutes
stage.
before
Yeah.
Trump's even
How
going on
can
stage.
you not get to that guy in 20 minutes? Now, apparently there's a
Exactly.
Secret Service person inside that building. Are
Underneath
you telling
him.
me in 20 minutes you can't walk outside, go up a ladder, and
Of
look?
course they could.
So Troy,
Yeah.
is that the question, or is the question how do you still allow Trump to get on the stage at 6:02?
Those are
That's
both
the
great
other
questions.
point. That's the
Yeah.
other point. And I've been around those Secret Service agents, and I mean they are very, very demanding. And they should have demanded, if they knew that this guy was at large after they had seen him at one point in time, and they knew he was out there, they should have demanded that the
It's
president
a security
doesn't get on
failure
stage.
all the
Big-
way around.
Big time.
It's,
big
it's,
time.
it's
And there will be heads rolling on this.
As well
I
there
guarantee
should be.
you.
as well there
Absolutely.
should be.
Have you seen the videos of the people that are going, hey, there's a guy up there on the roof, like right there.
Hold on.
Right.
Telling it to police officers.
That guy, right
Patrons that are
there.
attending. They're they see
Unbelievable.
the guy.
The Guy Fieri visor dude
Yeah.
that the
Okay.
BBC got a hold of,
Yeah.
when that guy was the most accurate in terms of who was where when, that's terrifying.
Right.
It was absolutely terrifying.
So is it? So I know we don't like this question, but we not incompetence, or they let it happen.
I think it was incompetence.
Yeah.
I don't want to think.
I shudder to think the other. I mean, I can't go there. But
I can't
think
either.
I think it was just
Well,
incompetence.
and in defense, and I'd say this, and I don't remember if it was Eric or Don Jr. Yesterday before, was praising that Secret Service detail because they've been assigned to his father for a while. You get assigned for a while.
Right.
And he says, I know all of them. They're
Right.
good people. Like, he was not blaming the Secret Service, at least the protector group
Right.
around his dad.
Right.
I think if you wanted to praise them, I didn't see anything that was praiseworthy. It took them a minute to get Trump off the stage, and I know.
And see, I argue the other way around. I don't think the fact he got back up was a security failure.
With
Should have
his
stayed
head
down.
poking out.
Agreed.
His head
Yeah.
was
You don't know if there's another shooter.
No, because he was a big target
Yeah,
right there.
you stayed down.
Well, and
Right.
look, complacency kills, right? That's the
It's been
law
since Reagan,
enforcement,
right?
Law enforcement 101, and it's been multiple decades since we've had one of these, and I think the security just got remarkably tighter.
So we're inside the war room. Stacy Pearson is here. We've got Matt Salmon. We've got Troy Hayden. It's Bruce and Gaydos. We're talking about Trump getting shot in the ear. Okay, is he gonna on Thursday come out in a body cast? Like, is he gonna milk this thing?
It seems like an awfully big bandage, but
gonna
I'm
look
not
like a
I have
mummy.
no medical training.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
I'll tell you what, and I've shared this with a lot of people, but I don't know how many of you remember the candidate George Wallace. George Wallace, who was running for president on the Democrat side, incredibly racist guy, and he was shot.
Yes.
And he became a paraplegic.
Wheelchair bound, yeah.
And he did a 180 in his life, and he truly did become a completely different person. And I don't know. I saw the Trump that came out on the opening night of this RNC as he seemed like a different guy to me. If
he seemed.
if he's- do you remember-
there was a weight on him.
Do you remember the movie City Slickers?
Sure.
Remember when they talk about
That was a great movie.
you have a do-over.
Okay.
You have a do-over.
All right.
He has
Nice
a do-over.
recall. All right.
And so
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal. So if he comes out in a humble way, calling for civility, calling for dialing everything back a notch, and then saying, you know what, and I'm going to lead by example. If he's able to do that,
I want to get the Democratic strategist on this,
it's
Stacy
game,
Pearson.
set, match.
Is Trump now becoming a sympathetic candidate because of what happened?
Absolutely not. And any woman who goes to her OB's office and recognizes that this guy would support a national ban on abortion is not going to give him a pass, with or without both ears. It really is. It's beyond that.
How dare you talk about issues? There's so many other things going on.
Troy, you say that, and I really think you're right. I don't think we're at the issues stage right now. We're at the image stage. We're at the vibrance stage. We're at the mental acuity stage.
there's so
We're not at
many-
the job numbers.
there are so many dynamics in a campaign. And I think with a combination of what's happened over the last few weeks, with the debate with the 20 members of Congress calling on Biden now to hang it up, and lately,
we have some new information. Yeah.
Schiff, coming out and saying he needs to step aside. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
And then when you look at that and you juxtapose that against what happened on Saturday, I think that right now, unless something dramatic happens,
An October surprise.
it's Trump's to lose.
All right. Hey, he's a former Congressman Matt Salmon. She's Stacy Pearson from Lumen Strategies, and of course, that's TV's Troy Hayden over
I
there.
used to be with
Look
Fox.
at
I'm no
that.
longer with Fox.
No longer. Yes.
Yes. I got a new station.
Call him what I said. It's the hottest free agent in Valley television. Okay.
Fair
I'll
enough.
take hot. That's great. Thank you, Gaydos. I didn't know you felt that way.
I'm
Yeah.
getting a piece of his new deal. Okay,
There you
so
go.
I'm working on the side for Hayden. So
We're
I just
going to
want to
be
get that out there.
We're going to be right back
You're
on the other
his
side.
agent.
We'll
Yeah,
continue this
I wish.
conversation a little bit with: did Trump gain votes by getting shot? We'll talk about it next. It's Outspoken Inside the War Room on KTAR. Hey, welcome back. You're inside the War Room. a political symposium. We're going to do it every Wednesday at 5 o'clock from here on out. Gee, I wonder if we'll have enough to talk about. Joining us in studio, Troy Hayden, Matt Salmon, and Stacy Pearson. We put together just the best and the brightest of the Valley. We bring them all in the room together here and talking about the issues that people care about. Now, I want to direct this a little more towards Stacy, more of our Democrat strategist here, okay? Will you acknowledge, we have to establish some facts. Will you acknowledge that the polling is not in President Biden's favor?
Oh, it's terrible.
Okay, good.
It's
I'm glad.
awful.
Well, I don't know if he believes that. That's why I say this. Because you look at the numbers, and I think the question a lot of Democrats have is, so what are you going to do to change this? What are you going to do to turn it around? You're down 3 to 5 on a good point. You're now competitive in states that you won by a landslide. How is this? I mean, how nervous are you? Don't lie, Stacy.
Well, there's nothing I can't explain with a football analogy, thanks to my
I love
father.
football
right?
analogies.
Thanks to being raised by Denny Man, God rest his soul.
Hear, hear.
But we're in the fourth quarter, right? There's 5 minutes left on the clock. It's a tie ball game, and our quarterback's injured. We've got 3 timeouts. There's still a 2-minute warning, and it's time to pull the quarterback. Like, it's that. It is. He's limping. He's injured.
So you're on that page.
It's time to have a conversation. You got us to this point. You got us to the Super Bowl. Let's pretend.
But you have Stidham
it's
on the
time to go.
sidelines.
Yeah.
You know?
How about Jared Stidham?
Jared Stidham
my
sitting
goodness.
there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, who
Careful
do
what you
bring
wish
in?
for.
Yeah.
It
Who
ha-
do
it-
you bring in, though? If Joe Biden decides to step aside, who is it?
So we've got a deep bench, at least at the state governor level, right? So if you've got Kamala Harris, but I don't know if the general public forgives her for knowing he was in this bad a shape and not saying anything. And
She's gonna get blamed
that's,
for it.
I think that's disqualifying,
Okay.
like to the electorate, right? What she knew when she knew. You have to be loyal to the president, but I don't know if the public would agree with her. You've got J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois. You've got Gavin Newsom, who someone described him as having a very punchable face. I can't disagree, but at least he's on the kind of in the scrum. You've got Gretchen Whitmer. You've got Pete Buttigieg, who's extraordinarily likable, great debater,
Great speaker.
great
Shapiro.
speaker. Shapiro. Yeah, I mean, I think there are
So
lots
where
of
are all
options.
these people? How come they're not stepping forward?
Because I think they're afraid of the Democratic machine. Now, let me tell you, I
Or they are.
They don't want
Just
to be
not on the
seen,
media.
or they don't want to be seen as disloyal.
Or they don't want to run against Trump. They don't want to run
well, you say that because I'm going to give you some numbers.
Well, hold on a second. CNN was saying Trump could get 330
If the election was held
electoral
today, he would.
votes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a runaway train right now.
today.
But that's against Biden.
Again,
against
5 minutes
Biden.
left on the clock.
So
though.
here's something I saw, and this was apparently a memo being passed around in Congress. You've probably seen some of these memos, Salmon. All right.
Memos.
I
And
tell you, but I have to kill you.
It had internal polling, and it showed 4 people running against Trump. It showed Senator Mark Kelly
right?
beating Trump by 4. It showed Governor Whitmer. It showed Shapiro, and it showed Wes Moore. And they all got 3 to 4 points more than Trump did. None of them lost any of Biden's number. So it seems like Biden's number is about 45. That's the floor. That's the anti-Trump vote, for lack of
Indeed.
better terms.
Indeed.
How do you get that extra 3%? You got to get to about 48% to win anything. And it seems like, you got to look at reality. And
Right.
who's having that conversation with Biden about reality?
Everybody.
I think
Everybody.
a ton of people are having that conversation.
Chuck
with him.
Schumer apparently visited him and asked him to get out of the race.
Nancy Pelosi has gone very squishy on his prospects.
Well, I think she sent Schiff, right? Didn't
Right.
She sent,
Yes.
They're very close.
Yeah, he's the
very close.
the
But what
bulldog.
about his wife? Again, at a human
point.
level,
Right.
Don't you look at your husband and see what happened on that debate stage, which seems like 6 months ago now? My
honestly
stomach
does.
dropped as I was watching him struggle because he was trying so hard, but he couldn't meet that moment. And this is not a sprained ankle. This is not going to get
Correct.
better in a month.
Right.
What we're looking at. I don't know. To me, it's like almost has to be his family.
I think Meghan McCain put out one of the best tweets regarding this, and she said, "History is not going to be very kind to Jill Biden."
Right.
Oh, indeed.
Jill.
Well,
Jill.
Yeah.
and I've likened it to, only because I'd seen it a little, and I'm sure you have better stories than I do, how Nancy Reagan protected
Very
Ronald
much,
Reagan.
very
Right.
much so.
And it was her. She took it as a calling, to protect Ronnie and protect his image. And it feels like the Bidens are doing the exact opposite.
And the Democrats have always suffered from being entirely too nice and polite and, just speaking a different language.
Republicans are screaming at their radio right now. But keep going.
This is different. This is worse. Like the fact that it took this long for a Democrat to say the guy was wandering around in the hallways, or or George Clooney 3 weeks after the fundraiser saying, "Hey, I actually saw that guy, and it was debate guy. It wasn't."
And it's got to be months and months, right? This doesn't just happen.
No, it doesn't happen
So the
overnight.
first time we saw it as a nation, I became aware was that debate. And I was like, whoa,
Right. Oh, no.
when did this
Yeah.
happen? But apparently it's been happening for a while.
So we talk about the polls and we talk about how Biden's struggling, but I mean, I didn't see Trump gain any votes by getting shot. Did he just make like his supporters just love him more?
They galvanized.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened is that you found a lot more intra-party loyalty and unity.
And maybe some
And
of those
turnout.
maybe some of those Republicans who were like, "Ugh, I don't like this guy." Maybe they like him a little bit better now.
Can I share with you guys a quote? I will give it credit. Van Jones said this on CNN just minutes ago. A bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Biden.
Yeah.
You've got the nominees of his party getting their butts kissed. Biden is getting his butt kicked by his own party. Yeah. Democrats are coming apart. Republicans are coming together.
Yeah, and that's what the difference is. Whether he got more votes because of it, I don't know that that's the answer. But I think that the Republicans have become galvanized, and the Democrats are fragmented, and that's a recipe for
coming off that debate,
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
in
Right.
totality, the last 3 weeks, Trump's numbers have gone up.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of what we saw with the president.
Had to.
Maybe it's because of the shooting as well. But you put that all together, and it leads
A lot
to
of
right
momentum,
now.
right?
Yes.
And I won't say that the shooting helped him, but when he stood up with the fist in
response.
the air thing, when he stood up with the fist in the air,
That
and
picture, that image.
showed that position of strength. I think that he would. Good for him for thinking so quickly.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the guy knows when he's on television and when to
right.
capture a moment. We're inside the war room, a political symposium, if you will. Our panel today, Stacy Pearson, Matt Salmon, Troy Hayden. When we come back, we've got the second half of the war room. Question, would Democrats rather lose to Trump than hurt Joe Biden's feelings?
Interesting.
Plus, he's got COVID.
That
We're
he
going to
does.
talk about it on the war room next. All right, we're inside the war room, second half of the war room. It's Bruce and Gaydos.
Yes.
We've got Stacy Pearson, Democratic strategist.
She's fantastic.
Matt Salmon, former United States representative.
Amazing.
And we've got Troy. You can do that all show?
All show.
We've got Troy Hayden. He's the hottest free agent to Valley TV star.
You left out
where-
handsome.
I know where he's going, but I can't
I
tell
gave you
anybody
the
yet.
secret. Yeah,
I
I
can't
told
tell anybody yet.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be huge.
Starting tomorrow, my new station, I think, is going to start running a promo that everybody's going to kind of get. So.
Okay.
Cool, man.
Okay.
All right. That's a good tease.
So, would Democrats rather lose to Trump than hurt Biden's feelings? I saw this. It was Andrew Yang who tweeted this yesterday. Democrats, quote, "We would rather lose to Trump than hurt Joe Biden's feelings." Okay, is that real? Because Chuck Schumer met with Biden, said you got to get out. We've seen Adam Schiff today. He's publicly called for Joe Biden to resign.
There's reporting that Chuck Schumer went to Delaware, sat down with him, and asked him to get out of the race.
If you look at polls, nearly 2/3 of Democrats want Biden to drop out of the presidential race. What's going on here, and why isn't he? My thing is, I think he would have bailed if Donald Trump didn't get shot. I think Joe Biden would have. That's just me. Bailed out of the race if Donald Trump didn't get shot.
Why do
I
you
think
say
this.
that?
I think this
Yeah, why?
changed. I think it changed everything because I think Joe Biden wants to stay. And now he's got some cover to stay because everybody's talking about Trump. No one's talking about his age.
Because if the guy hadn't taken a shot at Trump,
Yeah.
we'd still be talking about Joe Biden's age.
and the
Is what you're
drug
saying?
beat would have probably gotten more intense.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Monday
guess.
Monday morning, we would have still been like, "Is Joe Biden still old?"
But
and
now-
we would talk about the Lester Holt interview or something.
Stacey?
There's no scenario in which they would have requested that Biden step down before the RNC. Like, go get beat up. Let every speaker talk about what a failure the old candidate was.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Not
interesting.
the new candidate.
This is called strategery. This is what she does.
brilliant.
Yeah,
This is what she does for a living.
Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. And this
give
is
me
one
a
of
for
those
instance.
times.
How does that work?
Strategist.
So
you're
let's-
saying they're going to get up there and criticize the president?
That we just saw 3 days of it, right? We're going to see we're going to see Trump's keynote. We're
We're gonna have
see
J.D. Vance is
J.D.
gonna
Vance's
And if
keynote.
everything's
Talk about
focused on Biden, then
all
it's
about
bait
the
and
old
switch.
man, exactly. And
Okay.
then, so
Oh, I
if
thought you were talking
I would,
Democrats.
if I was recommending, if I was saying, hey, this is we're going to make a transition here, it's going to be after
We're
the
going to make a transition on
That
Friday.
makes a lot of
Friday.
sense.
Okay.
on
That actually
Friday.
makes a ton of
And the
sense.
COVID, the COVID thing is obviously concerning, but that would, and then you've got a 4-week essentially primary in the for the Democrats to go into a contested
How come
convention.
it seems so obvious to all of us, but when you get the reports out of the White House or out of the Biden camp, they appear oblivious to this. Are they either they're really good liars or they're really stupid? It's one of
They're seeing their own power slip away. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, so
it is
you have to
hard.
look at it and say, are we going to be willing to have basically unelected people, executives within the White House, run the country? Because we're looking at a man who
Who's
doesn't seem to get that
incapacitated.
together.
He
Yeah.
might know it at 5 o'clock, but he's forgotten it by 6.
Look,
That's painful.
we all have family members or people we know who've gone through this cognitive
Yes,
type
sure.
stuff, and we don't know for sure how bad it is with the president at this point. So,
But we
here's
know
my
we
question.
know it's a number greater than 0.
It's not great.
Right.
It's not great. But doesn't he have the delegates? How can
Right.
can you force him
No,
out?
you cannot.
You can't.
You
He's
cannot.
not.
Unless the 25th Amendment's a vote.
No one will do
invoked,
that.
right?
No
I
one
don't.
will do that.
I mean, you go the Nixon route. We've got the votes, kind sir.
So let me put this out
go
there.
Isn't
easy
that
or go
Schumer's
hard.
visit to Delaware? Don't you think that's what it was?
Maybe.
Senator Schumer went and said,
I wouldn't put it past. I mean, look, Nancy Pelosi ascended to her position, her leadership, in a time that women just didn't do it. So if there was anyone who was going to be able to move on that chessboard, it's going to be her
Okay.
and Chuck Schumer.
We're inside the war room.
Yeah.
And we've got Stacy Pearson, Matt Salmon, and Troy Hayden, Bruce and Gaydos. 2/3 of Democrats want Biden out. All right,
That's a crazy number.
it is. Should Biden? I'm putting this out there. Should
ready.
Biden use COVID to bow out gracefully and say, "Listen, I had a cold. What was it? A couple weeks ago with Trump. Now I've got COVID. It's taken me off the campaign. I'm noticing I'm flying around. I'm talking to all these people. I'm starting to get sick. You know what? I'm 81 years old." Can he use COVID to bow out?
Didn't he just tell
gracefully?
Lester Holt that it went from God Almighty when he's talking to George
Yeah,
Stephanopoulos
yeah.
to if my health dictates it,
Right.
Open the door a little.
a little bit. And here he is. He was sick, like you said, on that first debate.
Right.
He's sick again now, 2.5, 3 weeks later, where we are, and he's 81 years old. So maybe this does open it up to where my health's just not going to stick with it.
So when does he pull the trigger on that? Is it ever? I mean, is there
I think
still
what's-
time to change?
I think what Stacy said is actually brilliant. I mean, no, it is.
Thank you.
It is,
No,
isn't it?
I think probably next week.
Yeah.
And that would be a brilliant move.
So let the
hope.
Republicans go on stage and
Beating the hell out of Biden.
Yeah.
bash
Right.
Biden.
And then have somebody else transition next week.
Can I ask you a question, former Congressman
Yes.
Salmon? No, because you've literally
Yeah.
been there and you understand there's all these machinations that we don't understand. There's supposed to be something called a delegate roll call.
Right.
And the reporting we got is that both Schumer...
They're going to do it virtually.
Virtual, right.
Right.
But that Senator Schumer and Congressman Hakeem Jeffries,
Are trying to postpone it.
don't want it to happen Sunday. Say
Right,
that's it.
right. They want it to be postponed.
They're trying to postpone it. Doesn't
Right.
that say a lot?
I think it does.
When you're
Indeed.
inside the
I think
soup
it does.
there?
I
Yeah.
think it does.
What does it mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I think it sends a clear message that there's some things in play.
Agreed.
So what does that roll call even do? I'm not even familiar with it.
Basically, it solidifies the vote
The nominee.
behind him, the nomination.
Before the
right.
convention.
Right, before. Typically, like with the Republicans, it was done during the convention. When they actually went on the floor.
You
and they
stand
said,
up in the great
Arizona's-
state of
yeah,
Arizona.
Exactly.
That's the whole. That's
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
climactic part
No,
of the whole
they were
thing.
going to
Right,
do it over the
right.
phone.
They were going to
basically,
do it on the phone
Sunday.
beforehand on Sunday. Right.
Yeah.
So
And their
this would be
their
so
convention
fun,
isn't until
though.
August.
Yeah, 19th to the,
Yeah,
23rd?
that's odd.
Yeah.
every
It's different.
every other candidate who's not a candidate beats Donald Trump, at least in the polling that we've seen.
Right.
Joe Biden loses every time, at least for now.
And none of these other candidates are worse than Biden in the polling. None. They don't lose any support.
One of the people they talk about is Arizona Senator Mark Kelly.
It's pretty amazing.
Can he be the president?
He's a good
I
man.
think he could.
He's a good
guy.
guy.
He's an
he's an
astronaut.
astronaut. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got the star power.
Boring.
He can raise money like
He's a
no
little
other.
boring.
Oh,
Not-
really?
I mean,
Boring.
not to talk about, not that money solves all problems, but he can raise a whole heck of a lot of money
And you
too.
think about the tragedy
His
that
wife
happened with his wife,
with
Gabby
Gabby and
Gifford.
stuff.
But he doesn't captivate an audience. We've had him on the show. I find him boring. It doesn't mean that he's not a smart guy.
Will MAGA buy him?
Today, boring isn't a bad thing.
Maybe anything might be better than Joe Biden right now.
Well, and is part of the calculation, I'll ask my political nerds again, picking a candidate, if it went down that road, from states you need to win. Isn't that why his name's being thrown around?
That's a good point.
I mean, it certainly is one of the
Arizona,
factors.
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
like you got to have somebody from states we need to win.
JD Vance in Ohio.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the
It's
origin.
not by accident.
Yeah, it's not by accident. And the origin of those candidates certainly makes a huge difference.
All righty.
Coming up next, the War Room.
Yes.
It's our final segment. Are you guys watching the Republican National Convention the same way you watch an infomercial? All right.
Who watches infomercials?
Yeah. That might be a good question. We're digging into it next. We're Outspoken here on KTAR. You ready for this, Gaydos?
Oh, I'm ready. And I think everybody is going to want to hear this clip we're going to play in a second.
Earlier today, we learned that President Biden has COVID. He had to cancel an event in Las Vegas. He was there to speak to a Latino group and had to cancel that. And they said he was heading back to Delaware. So he's somewhere on Air Force One between Las Vegas and Delaware. He's obviously listening to the show. Obviously listening.
How could he not?
Like, who doesn't
Of
listen to this
course.
show?
Of
Exactly.
course.
Because I think he's feeling some pressure. And CNN's national affairs correspondent, Jeff Zelny, just reported this.
And we're going to get instant reaction from Stacy Pearson, Matt Salmon, Troy Hayden. Here is the clip from CNN.
Talking to a senior Democratic advisor tonight who is telling me this. He said he believes the president is being, quote, more receptive to these calls of concern. He goes on to say this: the private conversations with the Hill are continuing, this advisor tells me. He's being receptive, not as defiant as he is publicly. Goes on to saying, talking about Vice President Kamala Harris, who initially he wondered how she may fare in a campaign should it come to that. I'm told now he's asking questions, saying, do you think Kamala can win?
All right, let's start with Stacy Pearson,
Wow.
Democratic strategist. Big news here. What do you make of that?
Oh, I think this is excellent. Like, this is such the evolution we need. And particularly after the RNC, it makes a ton of sense for him to exit gracefully, turn the keys over to
Kamala, though?
Not
Well,
to Kamala.
according to that report, he's asking, is Kamala the right way to go?
Right.
Yeah, and it needs to be a contested convention.
Yeah, why does she
That would
just...
put a lot of excitement in
Oh, it'd be
everything.
awesome.
You can't just name the vice president. That's just
You can't.
I don't think America would like
No,
that.
there's
Give
going to
me-
have to be a contest.
Give me 3 or 4 people,
Yeah.
and let's have some town halls, and let's put them up against each other.
Have a debate stage.
and
Let's go. Yep.
And
But
go.
the voters wouldn't have any say at the convention, right, as to who they nominate. It'd still be, they'd all just kind of show up, and it'd be an inter-party delegate thing.
Isn't that
How's
the
it
way
go?
it used to happen? Far be
It's
it
the
from
way,
me.
it's the way
I
it
wanna-
always happened until the 50s.
I was going to say these black and white video where everybody would show up having no idea who the candidate was
Right.
going to be.
They were
and
decided at
They would
the
have
convention.
to do vote after vote
Right.
after vote until somebody got enough of them.
Right.
But the delegates themselves were elected, right? In most
Right,
precincts.
right.
So we've elected representatives to go to the convention to
Right.
pick us the next leader of the free world.
Right.
And so I think we're going to see that play out.
Okay, so let's just say
I think it's a good thing.
that that President Biden says, okay, I'm done. I had a cold during the debate. I felt terrible. Now I've got COVID. I'm trying to go around the country talking to people. I'm tired. I'm 81. I don't need to do this anymore. And 2/3 of voters don't want me to run anyway.
Of your voters,
Of
two-thirds.
Your voters.
Voters.
Good
What
point.
would it look like? So let's say they put 3 or 4 people out. How do you pick? Who picks? How, do you just?
What
do you,
did I
is
hear
it
the
just-
term blitz primary
is
is
it
a
just
term
a
I've heard
show?
people
Yeah.
No,
use?
you'd
Yep.
have to have a process.
Right, but is it just a show and they already know it's the one person, but they're going to put 3 others out there?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
But
either.
who's going to pick it?
So what I think will happen is we're going to see a 4-week primary from the Republicans,
From the
not,
Democrats,
not
right.
them, from my team,
Yeah.
Be smart.
and then I think we're going to see polling. Our brains are going to melt with how many times we see
But
polling.
4-week
and then-
primary, what are you talking about?
Well,
People would
but
go vote again?
No, it's just
No,
4
no.
weeks.
Oh, in the-
yeah.
The delegates,
Got it,
Exactly.
the delegates
Yep.
will
So they'd
actually
have
make
to
those
meet
votes,
and mingle
yeah.
and walk around.
Exactly.
And, okay, and hold.
Yep.
You know.
So it's a 4-week tryout. You put 4
Indeed.
Democrats up there, and then you pick the person.
Yes.
That's what it would be.
Yep.
The Democrats themselves would pick the person, and it's like you said,
The
Stacey,
Democrats we elected, right? The Democrats
right,
we elected
right.
to be delegates on
Right.
behalf of our states.
But maybe they'd look at the polls and say, "Oh, the guy from California is up by 10."
Who knows who
I mean,
they
who
would
knows?
choose?
That'll be part of the process.
Yeah,
Right.
but
You
it's
look
part
at-
of the
I mean,
process now.
they're going to probably want to put whoever they
Electability.
think, whoever's going to have the
Indeed,
best
yeah.
chance.
Yeah.
So if you're just,
I don't, it could be must-see TV, by the way. That would make it
joining us.
worth watching.
Hang on. If you're just joining us from CNN, they are reporting Biden is more receptive to dropping out. This is the first time that we've heard about that.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Democrat out there, you're begging him to drop out. If you're a Republican, you don't want him to go anywhere.
No,
Well,
you
I
want
like
him
it.
in-
Exactly.
I
you
like
want
what
him in the
Troy
race.
said because I think we can add this into it. What did he say to Stephanopoulos? What God
Oh,
Almighty?
it would take God Almighty
right.
for me to drop out of this race.
and then a week later, he sits
Yeah.
down with Lester Holt.
If I
and
had
then-
a
And he
serious health
said,
issue.
Yeah, health issue.
and
yeah.
then
So he's
today
already
it's,
backing off.
I'm receptive, right?
Because he has COVID.
And now it's
Yeah.
gotten to if I get a better offer.
Oh. How would you like Ambassador to Turkey? I'm just saying. Flake is
Costa
coming
Rica.
home.
Yeah.
Flake is coming home. There's an opening. Hey, guys, we really appreciate
That was
you
fun.
being here.
Thank you.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, good seeing you.
He's TV's Troy Hayden, for goodness sakes.
He's
in here with
TV's
us.
hottest free agent in
That
the valley.
too. That
Soon to
too.
be signed
to be
publicly.
signed.
Okay,
Publicly.
we'll break that news maybe tomorrow, right? Stacy Pearson and of course Matt Salmon. Great to have all you in here with us. We
It was
appreciate
fun.
it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.